Welcome back to Patman Garage. I'm actually really excited for today because several months ago, actually it was when I still had the 95 Lightning here, I picked up some go fast parts for Fitty, including some JFab rear brakes that are lightweight. So we're going to take a look at that kit today and see if we can't get it installed. I dabbled through the instructions over here. Dabbled through the instructions. Basically, we have calipers. It comes with braided lines. Once we get in there, we'll see if we need to use their braided lines. I already have stainless braided lines, so maybe we can skip that step. But it's going to involve a different disc, a different bracket, or different caliper, I should say, and new brake pads. So we'll get it torn down and then see what we look like. Alright, so I got my caliper set back and my rotor pulled off. Now, if you go by the correct way to do this, the whole backing plate comes off, and the only way to get the backing plate off is to pull the axle shaft out of the truck. On my truck, I have a Watts link. Ooh, shadow. I got a Watts link and a big billet cover, and it's quite a bit more complicated to remove than a factory cover, so I may figure out if you can also cut the shield off too if you'd rather do it that route, but I'm going to pull the parking brake assembly out of it and go from there. So I got all the parking brake stuff removed. I went ahead and removed the backing plate bolts. Those are 19mm front and rear. It's a loose nut, so you have to hold both sides. And it appears that let's see if I can get y'all flipped around here. The axle bracket itself, seen here, is the solid cast iron bracket, and that'd be a lot to cut through. It's probably about a 1/4 inch thick. So I think we're gonna probably just tear down the rear end. Not that I want to, but that's a lot of cutting, and you'd have to make two cuts wide enough that you could slide over the axle shaft or whichever direction. But that's some pretty thick metal in there. I thought it was just the backing plate at first that needed to come off. It would need to be cut, but that actual backing is solid cast. So we'll probably tear down the rear end and go from there. Well, I got my cover starting to come off. I got the girdle supports here are loose, and I've got it draining, and it's a good stopping point for now. Next thing will be pulling the cover bolts off. I'm hoping I can just let it hang off of the Watts link and just come straight down with it and just let it hang and not have to disassemble all of that and retorque all of that. So that's the goal there. I did go ahead and lift the truck up some more to give me more space under there. And then I've basically ran out of space up here. So glad I was paying attention to that. I got about 2 inches left up there, but should give me enough space to work under the truck for now. And then I may, while I have the truck up and this high, I may also do some other weight savings, like pulling my old shackle towers off of the frame rail, grinding out the rivets, and then pulling those brackets off, those on each side, as well as I might do something with the old shock tower braces, or the shocks supports there. Just stuff that I don't need anymore, and after converting to coilovers. So that's the game plan. We'll get back into doing the brakes here once we finish draining the rear end. Alright, well, I got the cover completely pulled off. I set it off to the side. I left all the Watts link connected. I just had to drop the 2 arms, so that wasn't terrible. The health of the rear end's looking pretty good. I'm going to have to get it into neutral so I can roll the differential so I can pull the axles, but I was originally hoping to just hang the cover, but you had to go kind of off to get around the ring gear, so that wasn't really an option. Plus I realized I was gonna have to scrape all the old sealant off of both the cover and the axle itself, so that also meant I needed access to be able to scrape. So we're in pretty good shape there. We just need to finish tearing down the axle so we can pull the C-clips out, and then we'll get back into pulling the backing plate completely off. Like I said, here's maybe a little bit better now that I'm actually under the car. I can see better. The thickness of that backing plate there is quite large, which is part of the weight reduction in this kit, is just removing that. So that's the setup, and we're going to get into continuing on these brakes here. So I got the C-clip removed out of this side, so we'll pull the axle shaft and pull the backing plate off, and then see what the instructions have for us after that. Alright, so the next step is going to be bolting the adapter bracket on for the new caliper, which is going to go onto, I believe, 3 of these holes. So we'll get that set up and see where we're at after that. And then we'll make an assessment on the situation on the brake lines, if we can use the existing flexible brake lines. So I got the first bracket installed. Note that there are spacers between the machined bracket and the backing of the axle, so just be aware of that. And yeah, that was actually not too bad. We can slide the axle back in now and continue building our setup here. So we got blue Loctite on the new bolts that are going to go into the carrier bracket. So we're going to slide the carrier bracket back in here on our new machine bracket, and we'll get these installed. These are also 19 millimeters. So this kit boasts, I believe it was like 45 pounds of weight savings. I am actually going to try to weigh everything I took off and weigh everything I'm going to put on the other side. Since I'm halfway through the process, but seeing that backing plate and removing all the parking brake shoes and mechanism springs and all that stuff, all that adds up tremendously, as well as the caliper itself is a lot lighter and the rotor's a lot lighter, so it very well could be around that weight savings. So we'll find out here in a little bit. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the kit. I have not done the brake lines yet, but can't be that complicated of a system. So I'm probably going to go and tear down the other side and get it ready to rock, and that way I'm only cracking into the brake fluid for a short amount of time. And really tempted, I might be ordering a line lock while I have the brake system down, and I'm going to have to bleed it anyway, so we'll see. So this kit includes a really nice machined aluminum bracket. That's a lot of where your weight savings were compared to that cast iron bracket. My personal preference, I probably would have spent a little bit more money on the kit if they had a USA option of calipers made in China, the rotors made in China. So I probably would have spent a little bit extra if I could have gotten some American parts, or even better, some OE parts would have been really nice. And at the timing of this video, there's not a solution for the parking brake integration. I'm going to do some research. I think I have a way figured out what I can do to make that work. So if I am successful, I will share that in a subsequent video. And if not, then we'll continue to wait for the appropriate kit to come out for it. But overall, like I said, it's a pretty nice kit. and we'll get the brake lines figured out and go from there. So I was doing really good, and I did my weigh-ins this morning, and then I went to get started on the truck and realized I didn't even weigh the caliper on the old one, so I guess I'll redo those weight ratings here in a minute after I get the old caliper actually off of the driver's side. So, one of the motivating factors for doing the big brakes, or, well, technically smaller brakes, the lightweight brakes I should say, is being able to fit a 15-inch wheel instead of a 16-inch wheel. So I have now test fit my driver's side, and it's stuffed. Damn it, boy. Looking thick. So that is at ride height, and I'm gonna run into all kinds of fitment issues here on the fender. Let's see, up there, boom. So I'm like tucking tire, but I need probably another inch or maybe a little bit more than an inch of ride height. The good news is I have coilovers, and I could just add an inch back into it. So I've got the room on the coilovers to add an inch, and this might work out. We'll see. So now that I've got the test fit of the wheel done, I mounted the original brake line support bracket, which was originally bolted to the backing plate by a 10 millimeter. I just stuck it on the same caliper bolt, same caliper mounting bolt there. So that worked out real nicely since it's out of the way. And then I was able to reuse my Stifler's brake lines. I just have them routed away from the parking brake spring. There you go, away from the parking brake spring, and should be good to go there. So we'll get the other side installed, and then we will bleed the brakes.